A new buzzword has sparked the debate about the workplace, quiet quitting, and now you have quiet firing. They're fueling a conversation about work-life balance and beyond.
Columnist Karla Miller covers work dramas, traumas, and trends for the Washington Post, and she joins us now to break it all down for us. This is really interesting. So tell us exactly, what is quiet quitting, and why do employers see it as a problem?
Good morning. Well, quiet quitting is not really a new concept. It refers to doing your job no more and no less, not going above and beyond what you would normally do. And the problem with that is that many people, a lot of employers interpret that as sandbagging, phoning it in, doing less than an honest day's work for an honest day's pay.
Well, some people, I've criticized the idea of quiet quitting. So have some people push back on that definition, or how do they see quiet quitting? Because some say, hey, if you're paying me a certain salary, I'm doing the job.
I'm doing the job
That's
I'm
all I
supposed
need
to
to do.
Yeah, why do I have to go above and beyond all the time? Because you're not paying me to go,
You're not paying me more to go
right?
above and beyond.
That's right. A lot of folks are saying quiet quitting just means I'm not going to be available around the clock. I'm not going to be answering phone calls and emails after hours or texts. I'm going to turn off my Slack at the end of my workday. I'm going to put in my 40 hours, and then I'm going to live the rest of my life. They're trying to get recentered and find some balance in their daily lives.
So it might not necessarily be a bad thing in some cultures, maybe in other countries. Like, that's what they encourage people to do, to actually be happy, but that might be a whole other thing. So let's talk about boundaries. Some people have brought up the practice of quiet firing, so that's a little bit different. So what is quiet firing?
Well, like quiet quitting, quiet firing isn't exactly new. It's the practice of sort of passive-aggressively not doing right by your employees, doing less for your employees, maybe not giving them raises, not giving them clear instructions, giving them poor feedback when they've done a good job, and just generally making the workplace uncomfortable and intolerable for them until they decide to quit, rather than firing them outright.
Yeah, because if they quit, you probably don't have to pay them severance and things of that nature. I'll tell you, I think I've been quiet fired before.
Really?
Yeah, they were giving me like double the work and then just really negative to the point where I was like, I just want to leave.
Well, here's what's interesting. I wonder if the employees that are quietly quitting are getting backlash from their employers who are going to quietly fire them, because they're both kind of doing the same thing.
Someone's got to be loud here. Just saying. Are these pandemic-related issues or just new terms for an old practice?
Well, these are not new concepts. People have been setting boundaries, phoning it in, for years, and companies have been quiet firing people for years. If you think back to the movie Office Space, and you think about Milton, who got shuffled to the basement, that's sort of a quiet firing situation. So it's really not new, but the point is that with the pandemic, more people, as they were working remotely, had time at home to sort of think about, what am I doing with my job? What kind of place does work take in my life, and how much of my life do I want it to take up? And they started thinking more and more about boundaries. You don't have that commute to deal with. You don't have those other non-work related things that sort of crop up with your job.
Right.
And once you've not had to deal with that, then you're kind of reluctant to go back to that life.
Right, right. So what can employers do if they're worried that their employees are quiet quitting?
The first thing I would suggest employers do if they're worried about quiet quitting is ask themselves, are the employees getting the job done? Are they doing what we're paying them to do? And how am I measuring that? Am I looking at the output of what they're doing? Or am I looking at how many meetings they've had this week, or how much time I've seen them on video? How many emails they've sent? Is that really related to the work that they're doing? And is it having an impact on their output? So find a way to sort of look at and measure the output of their actual work, and then decide if you're getting less than you're paying for.
What about on the reverse side of this? What can workers do if they think, hey, maybe I'm on the end of the quiet firing?
The first thing, again, would be to sort of examine yourself and say, well, am I underperforming? Am I not doing what they've asked me to do? Then I would go to my manager and say, can you give me some hard definitions for what you want me to do, some benchmarks, some way to measure my performance, because I really do want to do well. I want to perform well. And if they still are not giving you that information and you still get the feeling you're being pushed out, maybe start looking around for other jobs within the company or outside the company.
Yeah, it seems like communication is everything. Like as an employee, if you're feeling undervalued or being taken advantage of, you can quietly quit and just like pull back, or you could go and say, hey, you know, like you have to kind of like have a conversation.
It's being passive versus being proactive, and I think both sides can work on that and work on being more transparent and honest about what they want and what they're willing to give.
In a perfect world.
Thank you so much. For more, you can check out Karla, her weekly column in the Washington Post Sunday business section, or visit WashingtonPost.com/workadvice.